From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
Debate at 9. Presented by Renault Quid. Powered by Caretakers, Kamla Pasand and PolicyBazaar.com.
Hello and good evening. You're watching The Debate. I'm Sucharita Kukreti. An incident that shook us, that moved our collective conscience. The Kathua gang rape and murder case where an 8-year-old was picked up, sedated, gang raped and brutally murdered. The perpetrators of this crime have been handed over a life sentence. And that's the question we ask. Is a life sentence justice delivered?
Absolutely, Sucharita. We're going to be debating that, viewers. I'm Ridhumanan Bhardwaj. We're going to try and understand whether she also should have been given justice here. What's going to happen? First up, we take a look at our top headlines. And debate one today, hang killer rapist demand growing. What should be happening? We're going to be debating that today. Our debate 2 is going to be the violence continues. Who's pulling the trigger in Bengal? The Bengal bloodshed violence continues. And our debate 3 continues. The government crackdown on major corruption cleanup in Delhi. That's our debate 3. All right, Kathua killers and rapists handed a life term. 3 others get away with a 5-year term.
Judgment says reform and rehabilitation possible. Family says they deserved death.
Even the NCW chief is disappointed. Activists across India say punishment will not set an example.
Bengal Governor meets Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah submits 48-page report on political violence.
Massive shake-up in the bureaucracy. 12 top officers facing charges asked to go. Modi government ramps up corruption cleanup.
I gave my blood and sweat to the game once I got onto it, especially when it came to representing my country. I think it's a perfect day to move on.
Yuvraj Singh calls it a day, hangs up his boots. The man with the 6 sixes in an over and 2 World Cup wins retires.
Viewers, 16 months ago, the Kathua rape and murder case shook India. It triggered a protest and a movement across India to seek justice for the 8-year-old. Alas, what's happened now is people continue demanding for the victim who was abducted, sedated, gang raped and killed, death sentence.
A court in Jammu and Kashmir today has convicted 6 of the killer rapists today. 3 of them have been handed over a life sentence and 3 have been sentenced to 5 years in jail. The family is unhappy. They are demanding capital punishment.
In January 2018, these men kidnapped, raped and brutally murdered an 8-year-old child in Kathua. The gruesome details of the crime shook the conscience of the entire nation. These pictures of the 3 rapists and the 3 co-conspirators had angered India. 16 months later, these brutes have been let off with just a life term, and the 3 convicted policemen have been handed out 5-year jail term.
Finally, after 17 months, justice was delivered, though the family says they are not satisfied with the verdict, which acquitted one of the accused while 6 others were convicted. 3 have been given life imprisonment, while 3 others who were charged with the tampering of evidence have been given 5 years of rigorous imprisonment.
The family is not happy. They vow to take the fight to a higher court.
We are a little disappointed. Now we are planning to file an appeal against, and we will demand the capital punishment.
And there's anger across the nation.
I was expecting capital punishment for these people, and I hope that the state government will go for the higher court and appeal in the high court. And I'm a little disappointed. Hopefully, this punishment in this punishment, government will also appeal to the higher court.
5 years imprisonment for destroying evidence is nothing. And these are police officers. So these 3 people should have got nothing less than life term.
All eyes now on the state government to ensure that 8-year-old and her family get justice. Let's debate.
Don't spare the Kathua rapists. That's the debate number 1, and the guests that are joining us tonight on the debate. Abha Singh, advocate and social activist. Talish Rai, lawyer, advocate. Ranjana Kumari, director for Center for Social Research, is joining us. Neelam Katara, social activist, is with us. Advocate Dr. Farooq Khan joins us. Ankur Sharma, who's advocate in Jammu and Kashmir High Court, joins us. Social activist Barkhat Rihan is with us, and also advocate Naveen Chomal joining us. A very good evening to all our guests, and let me begin with Abha Singh and Dr. Farooq Khan. Abha Singh, an 8-year-old girl. She was picked up, she was sedated, she was gang raped and then brutally murdered. And after all this, the verdict that comes out hands over a life sentence to the perpetrators of this crime. Is that justice delivered?
Not at all. Justice has not been meted out because offense which was so heinous, it was more heinous than Nirbhaya, I would say. A young child, 8-year-old girl, kidnapped, sedated, gang raped for days and days, and then you don't give death penalty, you give life imprisonment. When on states like Madhya Pradesh have come out with death penalty, anyone who rapes a child less than 12 years. So for Madhya Pradesh there is death penalty, and not for Jammu Kashmir, not for other parts of India. You mean to say children are more special in some states and not in some? And secondly, what is more important, that the policemen who knew about the offense, who destroyed the evidence, they were let off with 5 years only, because in the charge sheet the only charges slapped on them was 201, that is destruction of evidence. Why was not criminal conspiracy 120B slapped on them? Why 34 common intention? At least 120B should have been put on them. And had the charge sheet had 120B on the policemen, they would have got at least life imprisonment. I am totally disheartened. I am totally disappointed. And I am hopeful that the parents and the well-wishers of this girl would go to High Court in appeal against this order.
But they've already said they are going to appeal. They've already said that. And Dr. Farooq Khan, let me take it to you. Rapists and killers need a strong message. Where is the deterrent in such a verdict? Dr. Farooq Khan.
See, my point is that if this case would not fall within the purview of the rarest case, then which case would fall? That's the question I am asking to myself. There is a judgment. I have all respect for the judgment as a student of law, as a practicing lawyer. Point number 2 is very important, that I have not seen the entire judgment, that how much the evidence has been appreciated by the court. But to me, as a student of law, as a lawyer, I believe that this is a fit case for rare of the rarest cases. And if there is no capital punishment being given, then justice would not have been, in my opinion, justice is not done. So the capital punishment must be given.
Ankur Sharma, why are your thoughts different? You're an advocate
please,
in
PCR,
Jammu and Kashmir,
because
and I
I'm
just want to
getting,
take you across
my
to the
voice
charge
again,
sheet before I
echoing,
come
it
to
is
you.
echoing.
She was abducted, held captive in a temple. She was sedated for 4 days, locked up for 6 days, strangled with a shawl, bludgeoned with rock, raped repeatedly for 5 years. 5 days. The question we asked today on Republic TV, and we've been trying to understand this, and like Abha was telling us, there is a law, a new law that started in India in 2018 that says any child who is raped under the age of 12 years will be given death penalty. Unfortunately, in criminal law, it doesn't go retrospectively. Ankur Sharma, in this case, it's the rarest of the rare case in which death should have been given. Why are you not appalled enough to ask for death for these heinous animals?
No, let us not mix two things. Of course, death has to be given if somebody has actually committed the crime. Here I'll speak only from a point of view of an advocate, a defense counsel, who has seen this trial, who has conducted this trial, been a part of this trial.
Continue,
and I can
please.
tell you that for convicting people under section 302, for convicting people under section 302 for murder, for 376D or any heinous offence, the standard of proof which is required is very high. In this case, you have already seen that Vishal has been acquitted by the court, saying that he was not present at the scene of crime. So this entire story was cooked up by the prosecution, and many of the prosecution witnesses turned what they call as hostile, but they spoke their mind out, and the prosecution chose not to present other star witnesses. The proof, the standard of proof in this case is very
I want
low.
to actually go across and tell you what actually happened that day, Ankur Sharma, and I'm only going to interrupt you because I want Tanishri, another advocate, and I also, okay, Ranjana Kumari is also joining us.
Ma'am,
I just want to, okay, Ankur, I'm going to let you continue the point, but I'm going to tell you what the charge sheet says. A little girl was gang raped 3 whole times before she was killed. The accused, in order to make sure the victim is dead, hit her twice on the head with a stone, Ankur. The charge sheet is saying these facts.
Of course, yes.
Ankur Sharma, I'm surprised at what you're saying, and I'm surprised at what you're saying. And that is why I'm going to give you time to make your point. Make your point so that before
you haven't read
so that the others on the panel can hear you as well.
Therefore, your problem is ignorance. Now, I can't help it.
Go ahead.
I can't help
Tell
it.
us about it.
Talking purely from the point of view of a lawyer, of a person who has been a part of this trial, and I'm trying to appreciate what has been put before the court. In legal terms, I can say that legally this was a no case, and therefore Vishal has to be acquitted. Now, since he is acquitted, where is that conspiracy?
Legally, which is a no case, has a life sentence being given out. What are you talking, Ankur Sharma? A case that has legally no bearing, you're saying, has a life sentence being given out?
Law. That is a bad
judgment.
Oh,
really? It is a bad judgment. So you're now raising fingers at the judgment, saying it's a bad judgment?
This is a prejudiced judgment.
You were earlier saying it has no evidence. That is why. That is exactly why it does not have a death sentence.
You are not competent to sit over the merits of a judgment. You are an anchor, not a lawyer, neither a judge, nor having a legal background.
That's the point. That's the thing I should be telling you, Ankur.
Trial documents. You have not read even the prosecution.
Okay, I also want to go across to Ranjana Kumari here. Ranjana Kumari.
Talk about generalization.
Ankur, I've heard you earlier also on the case. I just want to go across to Ranjana Kumari. Ranjana Kumari, page 425 of this judgment says,
Ankur, I don't think any of us.
Verdict today says this is a line that has caused widespread anger across the country. The order says, and I quote from page 425, the accused people are not previous convicts, and there is every possibility to rehabilitate and reform them. Ankur, don't keep speaking. Don't heckle me. Ranjana, is there a possibility to rehabilitate and reform people when the law of the country says if there is a child under 12 who is raped, death penalty should be given?
Absolutely. I think in this case, let me tell him, when he's talking about witness turned hostile, there is pressure on the witness. You remember how the case was communalized, how the morchas were taken out by Hindu, whatever front that they had formed. They used national flag for that rally. 2 ministers were involved in making the statement already. So they could not even wait, Ankur.
That's right.
Ankur Sharma, Have patience to listen to the
state was
real
communal.
issue. The whole case had to be transferred to the whole case had to be transferred to Punjab. You are so ignorant of the issue even as a lawyer. Why was it transferred? Because
of your propaganda
the agency
because
could
of
not
your
submit
propaganda.
the charge sheet.
Not on merits.
What propaganda?
This is the problem
propaganda,
here. You created a narrative,
people are.
which was
Do
a
you
false
know
narrative.
it is the BJP
I mean,
government,
demanding
it
a
is the
CBI
same
inquiry doesn't
government
mean
whose
that you are
men
supporting
went
a rape
on
accused.
strike
Demanding
and
a fair inquiry
marched
doesn't
on the
mean.
street.
Do you know?
These are the same men who have been, no, Ankush Sharma, you have to stop ranting, There only others can make their point. Please stop ranting because you are trying to mislead.
Okay, I'm also going to go across right now, Sucharita, to others who also want to come in. Barkhat Rehan also wants to come into the debate. Ranjana's made a valid point. Let Ranjana complete her point and then we go across to Barkhat. But Ankur, don't come here and tell us that we don't know a false narrative has been created. Understand, this is not a communal case. An innocent 8-year-old girl was raped.
It is a communal. The state of
were trying to destroy all kinds of evidence. Mr. Ankur Sharma is trying to mislead everyone as a lawyer of all these rapists. I think he is trying to mislead because
what about
the punishment we don't agree. This is no, you are misleading.
Ankur, don't try to change the facts here. That's absolutely a false narrative because I actually read through the charge sheet which you were talking about and not wanting to point fingers on. The charge sheet clearly talks about the kind of damage this girl went through, an innocent 8-year-old girl. So let's not get carried away upon what happened to her. Whether it was that she was bludgeoned to death or not. Barkhat Rehan wants to come in. I'm going to let her tell you what happened in the case.
Let me come in now. Yeah.
Go ahead, Barkhat. Go ahead.
Here I have to make a point that death penalty is not a deterrent, first of all. Secondly, the Honorable Court itself has said, we respect the Honorable Court. We have to understand what the courts have said. They have already said that the reforms and rehabilitation should be done. So what are we discussing here? Death penalty is never, it's so inhuman to even talk about death penalty.
Well, it is the same government, you all are representing the same people, same ideology, which has said that anybody who's raped below 12,
what do you mean by same
anybody should be hanged.
All right, Barkhat Rehan.
Slogan. You people belong to the same bunch of people who demanded death penalty for the people who are responsible for raping anyone below age of 12.
And whom do you belong to, madam?
This is what the law of the land. This is law of the land. It's unfortunate that
this is so disgusting. This is so disgusting. Why can't we reform this case? They are not serial offenders.
That is the unfortunate part of it.
The bearings of this case was such that the J&K Criminal Law Amendment Ordinance 2018 was passed. Even in the state of Jammu Kashmir, if there is rape or gang rape of a girl below 12 years, it will be punishable with death. Such were the bearings of this case. And you're still saying that you're still saying that it shouldn't be a death sentence.
When did I say don't punish them? I never said don't punish them.
Okay, but you think death sentence
punish them severely? But
you think that such monsters can be rehabilitated, they can reform.
And Sucharita, Ranjana, just a minute. We want to take this question to someone who's been fighting a case in the corridors of the judiciary for the longest time, Neelam Katara. Neelam Katara, for the last many years, we've seen you in the corridors of the judiciary fighting your own case. You tell Barkha, you tell others who say death penalty is not the answer, why in fact in such cases death for rapists should be there, because in such heinous cases, this is the lowest point of humanity. I don't even know what we are talking about. When death penalty is the answer in Cuba, when death penalty is the answer in China, when death penalty can be the answer in Japan, why should death penalty not be the answer in India?
It is abolished in 186 countries, madam. You're not telling us that.
Neelam Katara, first to you, Barkha will reply later.
Just a minute. We are not, listen, Barkha, we are not here to discuss just a minute. We are not here to discuss whether India should or should not have death penalty. As it stands, the law book says that we do have death penalty. It has not been abolished in India. So that is not the debate.
Why not go for the rehabilitation?
No, wait a minute. I know. Yeah, who will decide whether these people are capable? Who will decide whether these people? No, the court's verdict says yes. Yes, we are questioning the court's verdict.
Already the court has visualized the evidences.
What?
This
no,
is
wait.
after visualizing the evidences.
Yes.
I believe
yes,
the court
we are
has
going
seen
to.
the evidences.
Barkha, let Neelam Katara make her point and then you can come in. Let her make a point.
Quiet. Barkha, this court has made its point, and so we would like the prosecution to take it to the next level, to the High Court. The court might have analyzed here, but yes, definitely, because in XYZ country, people are very reluctant on giving a death penalty, and with people like you who feel, that feel-good factor that let's not give death. Let's see what's happening in our own country. What is the alternative if we don't give death? Some life imprisonment, which is not life. I would like all the citizens of this country to know that life imprisonment in our country is a sham. It is not life unless...
Okay, Barkha, I want the other panelists to also come in.
They have taken some... No, wait a minute. Barkha, they have taken someone's life without giving the poor child a court for no reason at all. And the motive is so terrible because they hate the community of Bakarwals. Therefore, they will kill this child. Yeah, so why so
the motive is terrible. The motive is terrible, and for no offense that the child made. Absolutely.
And therefore,
absolutely what Neelam Katara is saying, let us...
What is your problem with giving them death? What is your problem with giving them death? Because some XYZ country doesn't give death, so we will not give death in a country.
Is it a deterrent? You tell me, will it be a deterrent? Has it been a deterrent?
Yes. Will anything, this is the only thing which will be a deterrent. There is nothing else, because life imprisonment in our country means they go out for parole, they go out for furlough, and also they come out after 14 years. You have to fight real hard. Last 2 years I have spent my life fighting paroles and furlough.
That's right, Neelam Katara.
In a case where the convicts are there with life imprisonment. Life imprisonment is life imprisonment for the victim, not for the criminal. It has no meaning in our country. Life imprisonment should be
Neelam
for the
Katara,
whole of life,
and
a jail should know how to contain the criminals.
You cannot. We cannot.
Please, Barkha, please spare us. Tell us what was happening to the innocent 8-year-old girl who was locked up, who was strangled, who was sedated, who couldn't even raise her voice when she was strangulated to death. They were sedating her so much, raping her repeatedly by policemen and others. What was happening to humanity then? I want to take this question to other lawyers on the debate, and then we'll go on to other countries. Talish Ray, this is the lowest point of humanity. Nirbhaya case, we saw it happen, and therefore Sucharita spoke about the law that has changed in India in 2018. We welcomed the law that has changed, Talish. But today, yet again, a certain lobby, still, that is also supported by Amnesty, very interestingly, calls these incidents unfortunate. Isn't it time to get death finally done in such rarest of rare cases?
First up, in this country, death has to be given out in the terms of rarest of rare case. But I'm going to make a distinction here, and I think that's a step back that should be done. One, I'd like to make the distinction of the responsibility of the state here, not politics, mind you, but state. Let's look at the way this has been carried out. There are 5 policemen, as Abaji pointed out. There were 2 policemen that were 3 policemen that were actually also convicted in this, but only for 5 years. As custodians of the state, as people that carry on and protect us, if they are responsible for destroying evidence, why is it that we are not going after them? So I would actually look at it, how can we trust the caretakers? How can we trust our state if it is not going to give us out the kind of judgment that is there? There's a responsibility towards that care that is there. The second part of it, while there has been an ordinance that has been passed out and there is no retrospective jurisdiction, that retrospective effect that it has in criminal law, but the fact remains its persuasive value. Therefore, in that sense, this judgment, it fails when it talks about rehabilitation. Let us please look into the fact that any child sexual abuse also today carries some very severe punishments. And here is a rape of a child, not just a rape of a child, a rape carried out in a place which is the house of God. It is carried on within knowledge of people who are supposed to be caretakers of such houses of God. This is not meant to be. And again, we need to examine what society are we a part of. That society which actually uses little children, and this is across board, to settle scores of land and property, and these children then become girls of this community and girls of that community. So I think we need to really reanalyze amongst ourselves that are we really beyond redemption in that sense, that not do the people just tend to see our children as our future here, but rather as something that you can settle scores in. Our policemen are going to be of the kind where what kind of message are we giving to honest, good, upstanding policemen, that tomorrow you can get away with this and all that you will get is 5 years? And what is the kind of messaging that is being done to these young men who are being so-called put in for rehabilitation? What sort of a rehabilitation is really possible? And if that is the case, then where does the court see itself while it's standing? So there is no doubting the fact, and I'm not taking away from the fact that the prosecution may not have done a great job. I'm not taking away the fact that the custody, the witnesses would have turned hostile. But I'm asking us to look a little deeper here beyond whether there should be death custody. I completely agree with Neelamji. There is no question of a life imprisonment. It is never a life imprisonment.
I would want you to respond to what Talish is saying. And the question, the bigger question remains that don't we need a strong deterrent to such crimes? Rapists and killers, don't they need a strong message? I would want you to respond to what Talish was saying.
See, I don't think this case would demand a capital punishment. More so because as everybody is aware of the political undercurrent and the communal overtone to the entire matter, please appreciate that normally, I can tell you by my experience as a lawyer for 25 years, we have also handled many rape cases. So generally these type of cases, particularly in this case, the die was already loaded against the accused person.
It's a plain case of rape. Let's not give it any communal overtones. There is no communal overtone here. Please, let's not go into that.
I am not giving. Who am I to give any political color to it? Let us accept the reality of the thing, that this case, the die was loaded already against the accused persons, the political outcry, the Supreme Court transferring the case from one state to another case. So the trial court is already under a pressure. So this conviction that has been given today, there is a room for the thought. There is a room for the thought that perhaps
any rapist will have any religion. Let's not even go into that particular part, Naveen Chomal. We remember what was happening at that time. But no rapist can have a religion. So this is not about a communal overtone, and this case can be given.
And even if it was being politicized, if I were to give it to you, Naveen, even if it was being politicized, listen, Naveen Chomal, does it take away the fact that the poor girl, the little girl was abducted, she was sedated, it was such a gruesome crime? Does that take it away from the fact?
No. See, I am not on that issue. Because neither you nor me, we are not privy to what is the evidence that is before the Honorable Court, the precise evidence. Now we are going by the basic facts that if anybody
does I'm just going to go across, viewers, and read from the charge sheet and tell you exactly, Naveen Chomal, what was happening and what happened in the case. So it's shocking. And Naveen Chomal, you are an advocate. You would be knowing what the facts of the case are. I will read them out for you. The charge sheet notes how the little girl was gang raped 3 whole times before she was killed, and the accused, in order to make sure the victim is dead, hit her twice on the head with a stone. Can there be any leeway or scope of being left to such barbarians? Is the death penalty the only justice should be given here? The charge sheet says the accused Deepak Khajuria, an SPO, was a part of the conspiracy. He wanted to dislodge whatever. Why should those who are using rape as a tool to make a statement against any community be only punished with a certain number of years? The perpetrators of such crimes should be given death. This is what the charge sheet is saying, how an innocent girl was treated, Naveen Chomal.
See, See, I am definitely having
I don't
sympathy
think
for what
Naveen
happened
Chomal
to
has
the
any
innocent
kind of
girl.
answer for
That
this
is not
kind
the
of a
issue.
question.
The issue
Because
is
what he's
that
pleading is
there
trying
is
to
a
bring
difference
politics in
between
again.
what
He's
is
trying to
has
bring the
happened
communal
and
angle
what is the
again.
material
Mr.
against the
Naveen
accused
Chomal.
person. How much of it is proved? So,
can't hear anything.
No, I am not bringing communal angle. I am trying to bring the judicial angle to it. What is the evidence that is proved against the accused persons? When we'll go through the entire judgment, we'll come to
You're
know
talking about
what are
pressure from the
factors before
politicians
the
on it.
court to somehow.
No, Naveen
Yes,
Chomal,
no,
there
judiciary, higher
definitely is
judiciary
evidence
also.
that has been taken
Yes.
into
See,
cognizance.
in this,
that has been taken into cognizance,
also.
and that is why we have a death sentence. That is why we have a life imprisonment today. So let's not take away that fact. There definitely is evidence. It definitely has been proved in court, and that is why we have a life sentence.
Yes, but the Honorable High Trial Court also had a chance to
wisdom of the
verify
court.
whether this is a
Mr.
rarest of the
Naveen
rare
Chomal,
case or
are you
not.
questioning
So
the wisdom
definitely
of
he
the
has
court?
applied
Are
the
you
mind.
questioning the
And
investigation
definitely
procedure?
he
What
knows
are you
that he is
questioning,
under
Mr.
scrutiny
Naveen
by the
Chomal?
media,
Are you
by the
questioning the
politicians, and even
investigation
the higher
procedure?
judiciary.
Are you questioning the... Can I say something to Naveen Chomal?
See,
Are
I am
you
not
questioning the
anything. I am just saying
investigation
about the
that was
reality.
presented
And
before
the
the
very
court?
fact that the
Are
trial
you
court has,
questioning the
in its
wisdom of
wisdom,
the court?
decided
Are you
not to
questioning
award
the
capital
wisdom of the
punishment?
court?
That
Are you
means
questioning
trial
the
court is
judgment?
somewhere
Are you saying these
shaky.
men were not responsible for what they did? What are you trying to question, Mr. Chomal? Because this is clearly a case of extreme brutality. It is murder and it is rape. It is rape, murder and extreme brutality. What else is rarest of the rare case then?
Sentence of conviction.
Let's also go across now to one. I understood Abha Singh wants to come in. Barkha Trehan wants to come in. I don't think, Naveen Chomal, a rape of an innocent 8-year-old girl, that's a national issue, should be allowed to become a communal one. Only that for that reason, I'm going to take the debate back to Abha Singh. Abha and Barkha here. The question, Abha, the Nirbhaya case was classified as the rarest of the rare case. You're a lawyer. You can explain it better, Abha. Justice Bhanumati also in that judgment in 2017 said, this is the rarest of the rare case. Shouldn't the same logic apply? In that case, there was an iron rod pushed into the girl and the blood-soaked body of the girl, Nirbhaya, was left on the streets by those heinous animals. In a similar fashion, a girl here has been led through brutality, an 8-year-old girl. Shouldn't the same logic apply in this case, Abha?
Of course, this falls in the rarest of the rare category. Here was a child who was grazing her horse. She was picked up because you wanted to threaten a particular community to go away. You sedate her, you rape her in a temple. Is this not rarest of the rare? And then you kill her. I think this should only get death penalty and nothing else. And one more thing I want to say, when conviction in rape cases is less than 30%, so whatever is convicted, you need to give the harshest of punishment, because criminal justice system depends on deterrence. You cannot have a cop everywhere, but it is the fear of law which protects the women, which protects the girl child. And when there is no fear of the law, then let me tell you, you will have such cases almost every day. Right. This is what we are seeing in the Aligarh case, where the 2.5-year-old girl was put to death because, and that too again because of rivalry and secondary issues, because you don't fear the law. People feel there are so many loopholes. You can get the best of the judges, you can compromise investigation. As I said, the investigation was compromised because the policemen were let off easily by just putting destruction of evidence and not making them a part of a criminal conspiracy and common intention. So we require death penalty in heinous offences, rarest of the rare, because the message has to go that nobody is above the law. And when I said, when Madhya Pradesh and states are passing that law of death penalty, how can in this case the judge overlook this point? I am totally disheartened, disappointed.
Absolutely.
With today's
Abha,
verdict.
let me go across to Dr. Farooq Khan. Let me go across to Dr. Farooq Khan. Dr. Farooq Khan, as Abha says, if this is not rarest of the rare, what is? If this is not rarest of the rare, what is? The order copy also says that since the accused do not have a previous record of crime. I'll come to you, Barkha. I'll come to you, Barkha. The order copy says that since these accused do not have a previous record of crime, they can be rehabilitated and reformed. And my question is, aren't these loopholes in the law? Aren't these loopholes in the law that allow criminals to go with a life sentence instead of a death sentence? Such animals, such beasts.
No. You are perfectly right. I could not agree more with you. You know, these are not human beings. These are animal, and only death and death is solution. And let me tell you one thing. You know, some panelists are talking about some ordinance, some state ordinance. Let us forget any ordinance. Section 302, 301, you know, in IPC, the death penalty is there. Supreme Court, while upholding the constitutional validity of death sentence, has categorically said that as long as this penalty is in the law books, it has to be implemented. It is not for any ornamental purposes. If you don't feel that if a person who is convicted of raping 8-year girl or 2-year girl, if these people will not be hanged, then who has to be hanged? Damn it, we have to think over anything.
Exactly. And that's precisely the point that I want to take across to Barkha. Barkha, I'm not asking you this. I think I would rather say this to you. Barkha, I will not ask you this. I would rather say this to you, that reform and rehabilitation is a possibility with humans, not with beasts. Not with beasts.
See, rehabilitation, the courts have also said reforms and rehabilitation. And it again violates human rights. So why can't we think about the rehabilitation? What's the problem? It's all again barbaric to ask for death penalty. Those who are supporting here for the death penalty, I oppose them.
Farooq Khan wants to reply to you, Barkha.
Is it a deterrent?
You want human rights for a convicted rapist?
You give me an answer. Is death penalty a deterrent? All the
human rights. They are human rights. They are human rights.
In fact, I would like to tell you when the 2018 ordinance came out, the Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said the reason to have these particular ordinances is to have more convictions. Farooq Khan is responding to you, but more convictions is what the Law Minister said. Why is death penalty given to someone who rapes a child under 12? Because more convictions will be a deterrent. This is not me, this is the Law Minister of the country speaking. So Farooq Khan would also like to elaborate. I also want to go across to our other guests here. Ranjana Kumari wants to make her point. Ranjana Kumari.
Well, just give me 10 seconds. Let me tell my dear sister.
Yeah, Farooq, complete your point and then Ranjana Kumari.
We have let them go to hell. We don't want them.
Human rights.
Correct. Valid point, Farooq. Ranjana Kumari.
Human rights are not given to the beast.
This is cruel.
Human rights are
the death penalty.
Secured. Human rights are to be given to only human beings, not to the beast. Not to the beast. So please don't talk about human rights in this context where little baby was given. Please don't talk about human rights here, and please don't soil the image of people who work for human rights, because this is not a case where any kind of right should be given to these men, including the policemen, who should have been given
Neelam Katara, couldn't you agree more? Neelam Katara.
Because we are not happy.
Neelam Katara, couldn't you agree more? As I said, these are human rights. These are not rights for beasts.
Yeah, I mean, death penalty is there in our law books, and if not for these, then who are we going to use it for? Please, I would request all of us to think that if this child was our daughter, my daughter, your daughter, God forbid, would we still say that these people don't deserve to be hung? Would you still say that, any of you? That is why you have to put your, that is where the pen should go, and then speak. Not because human rights. What human rights for animals? How are you going to reform these people?
Give them the severe
No, but Barkha, you're not getting the pathos of the situation.
But death penalty
Barkha, I would just like to tell you, you're not getting what the father said today. When the father was asked by the prosecution lawyer, are you satisfied with the verdict? The father said, I'm not. Even today, Nirbhaya's mother is still going to the court. She's still saying, give death to those 4 people who are still left, and they are still scot-free. They are still in prison, but they are not being given the death. Her case is going to come up in July. She's still asking the court, why have these accused rapists not been given death? So the question, and I'll tell you what's hurting us, Barkha. On 11th October 2017, the Supreme Court came out with a judgment. They said rape is not merely a physical assault. It is destructive of the whole personality of the victim, and it degrades the very soul of the helpless female. Remember, viewers, here we are talking about an innocent 8-year-old girl.
Undoubtedly.
Not only was she repeatedly raped to satisfy the lust. This is what the charge sheet says. Not only was she repeatedly raped to satisfy the lust of certain people, people are making out to be a communal issue, and then she was murdered, and then her face was mutilated. If this case doesn't deserve death, Barkha, we surely don't know what deserves death.
We have to understand the circumstances, what led to such rape cases. We have to understand that we have to have some reforms for these boys and men. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. We can. Go ahead, Barkha.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Barkha. If you cannot hear us, I'll come back to you.
Where these men and boys
the same crime. I am so sorry. Are you trying to tell me that circumstances make people rapists? No, they do not. It is their own free will and violation that they have gone and committed this kind of a crime.
An eye for an eye. We cannot ask an eye for an eye.
What do you mean by an eye for an eye, Barkha? What do you mean by an eye for an eye?
I do not.
What does an eye for an eye mean in this case?
What are you talking about? I am sorry, those men are not going to be drugged in a temple complex.
What did the poor girl have to do in this entire episode? Why are we talking about an eye for an eye?
Babaji said, please understand the purpose of the jurisprudence behind life, imprisonment and death sentence. There is a difference there. So please do not make it an eye for an eye. There is no eye for an eye. They are not 8-year-old who were dragged into a temple complex. It is not eye for an eye. This has to be, there has to be an end to it. You have to put an end to it.
Yes, this is not an eye for an eye. This is not an eye for an eye. The little girl, the 8-year-old girl had nothing to do with what happened to her. And you go ahead with sedating her, repeatedly raping her, and then bludgeoning her to death.
And the court
what do you mean by an eye for an eye? I'm sorry, Barkha. I'm sorry, Barkha, but this argument will not go down well with anybody on this panel. Will not go down well with anybody on this panel. Let me go across to Ankur Sharma. Ankur Sharma, are you still on that story of a false narrative here? Are you still on that story of a false narrative? Ankur Sharma, let us get Ankur Sharma here and then we can have some reactions on that.
Please, yeah, I'm coming.
Wow, Barkha ji is right.
Okay, great. This is great. This is awesome. Go ahead, Ankur, go ahead.
If you ask me, that should
fake
death...
cases, false rape cases.
Yes,
there are so many
let us not mix two things. One, the merits of this case, particularly
about
the death penalty. Of course, I am an ardent supporter of death penalty in the rarest
Barkha, what are you saying? A case that has outraged the nation. Let's not go into false narrative here.
There are false narratives in many cases. I said that.
Go ahead, Ankur.
And maybe this one is also one.
Please. Yeah. So I am an ardent supporter of death penalty in the rarest of the rare cases. But what I'm trying to make out, what I'm trying to put across here is that given the complete understanding of the trial and the kind of evidence that has been produced in this case, I say that this is not a case where these people could even have been convicted. We do not talk about the botched up investigation by the crime branch. We do not talk about the motivated
So you think the charge sheet is fabricated?
I think we should discuss these things in greater detail.
See,
I will educate you. I will educate you. You don't know anything. Your problem is your ignorance. You are interpreting between. I am telling you. I am requesting you that we can discuss.
You cannot keep saying this about the investigation that has held them guilty today. You said this point earlier and that's not going to be, that's not a valid point here. Abha Singh, I just want to ask you one point. For such a heinous crime, we continue saying, is 15 years also enough? But can there be any scope for this particular case when the special police officer Surendra Verma was present at the scene of crime. Head Constable Tilak Raj was present and aware of the crime. Sub-Inspector Anab Datta destroyed crucial evidence. A rape is going on, a murder is going on, they are aware. Now Ankur is saying this evidence has been created and the investigation should have been given to somebody else.
A person should be given the maximum punishment. But who should be given the maximum punishment?
In fact, what Ankur is saying is all brazen lie. He's trying to just cover up the issue. In fact, there was one more charge that 4 lakh rupees were given to the cops. There is evidence of the fact that 4 lakh rupees exchanged hands to cover up the case. Let me tell you this. And today I'm reminded of the Salman Khan case where they said that nobody killed him. The car was being driven by some robot. So I know these people know how to use the loopholes to ensure that justice is not given. People know that the loopholes are there, the corruption of the police is there, and that is what he is talking. Because the fact is that a young girl lost her life, a young girl was kidnapped. Can he deny this? Can he deny that an 8-year-old girl was not kidnapped? Can he deny that a girl was raped and killed? What happened to that 8-year-old girl? Can he deny the death of that child? Can he deny that? Where is that girl? Let her bring her alive if he feels everything is fabricated.
Absolutely.
I'm appalled that there are people who are not concerned
Abha is asking you a direct question.
I'm appalled that there are certain ideologies.
Abha is asking you a direct question. There was a false narrative. Accepted. Where is the girl?
I cannot support that.
She's saying, where is the girl?
Where is the child?
How can you deny that she was raped and killed?
Where is the child? You tell me this.
Don't change the topic.
Is she alive?
Don't change the topic. Don't generalize
and it is just like
the topic.
I am reminded of the ministers who went and supported the protesters, the lawyers.
Ankur, bring back the child.
This was a case where these people were involved.
Abha is saying, bring back the child.
General question.
If it is a false narrative, where is the child?
Supporting that.
Because people like these come and ask.
The girl is no longer there. She's been brutally murdered, and all you have to say is it was a false narrative. It was a false narrative. Is what your defense is.
Who are a part of this program also. This was a false
narrative. It's shameful, Ankur. It's shameful. It's shameful what you're saying.
Also go abroad to Rajna Kumari.
You did not allow.
Abha, exactly. So, Abha, let's remind them what happened in the Nirbhaya case also. So let us not get into the remember speaking to you when the Nirbhaya case happened. Talish, I'll just come to you. Ankur, 1 minute. Let my other guest speak. Let's not get this because we are feeling ashamed here about what's happened in this case. I remember when the Nirbhaya case happened, the Amnesty International came forward and called that case unfortunate. Ranjana Kumari, when people don't want death penalty to be a deterrent in India, Amnesty and all these other people call it unfortunate. In such a case also we are seeing another narrative being created. Ranjana Kumari, how is it that Indians should take this lying down?
Yes, I think you see, you have to understand one point that people like Ankur and the battery of lawyers were the people who were on the street protesting against these men being arrested. So from that day onwards, all these lawyers in the court tried to protest. They did not allow the charge sheet to be filed. So from day one, they are trying to tell people that this is a false narrative. And he thinks that he is a very intelligent man talking about it like this. I don't think you are wrong and you are wrong and the court has proved you wrong. Now what do you want to say? When the lower court has really come up with the judgment that these men are to be punished. Now let's stop it there. We are not happy with the quantum of punishment. We want them to be given rarest from the rare punishment as the case was rarest from the rare. That's what we are trying to say. It will be established in High Court. We still have a time to go to Supreme Court. Why are you trying to now say that we don't understand the case?
Right.
The whole
and Ankur, if it is a false propaganda, then you had all your might to prove it wrong. You had all your might to prove it wrong. Who stopped you? You could not do it because you were on the wrong. You could not do it because you were on the wrong. If there is a false propaganda, prove it wrong.
Yes.
Vishal Jangotra.
Yes. Absolutely. You were wrong and you could not prove it. So now you have this entire narrative of calling it a false propaganda, Ankur.
Maybe we even not sure if it was not washed up.
You had it in your mind. You should have proved it wrong, Ankur. Why couldn't you?
The communal motivated conduct. You are selective. You already made up your mind.
This is Ankur, I just want to think these people. Neelam Katara punishes them. Then you're saying that we don't understand.
Ankur, please don't continue talking when my other panelist is speaking. We've heard your point. You possibly
belonged to some fringe organization who was trying to rally behind the accused in Jammu and Kashmir, and that fringe organization does not stand for yours or mine or anyone's religious rights just because they think they're going to be a part of the fringe. So you might belong to that fringe organization. Don't say that it's a communal angle here. I want to bring in Neelam Katara and Naveen Chomal into the debate here. Rallies were held like Ankur is talking about in Jammu and Kashmir, we remember. But BJP MLAs who were a part of those rallies were sacked. So Neelam Katara, why is it these people still believe death penalty will not be a deterrent in a case where women are constantly being raped, and it's time that such a deterrence was there?
Absolutely, that will be the only deterrent. Otherwise, what is the deterrent? If anything else, if life punishments or shorter punishments had to be deterrents, there would have been deterrents by now. So we have no other choice now but to give the death penalty, because there is nobody is scared of these sham life sentences where the convicts keep coming out, where the prisons serve like some kind of holiday camps, parole, bail, whatever, furlough. I mean, after 1 year, 1 month furlough, all nonsense. So, and after 14 years, they can come out. So there is no... Yeah. So now tell me, the death penalty is there today. That is all I know. I am not arguing whether it should be there or not. It is there. It is there. It is there in your law book, and therefore it is to be given in the rarest of rare case, if anything is rare now, because rape is so common now. So it should be given here.
Neelam ji, ultimately the fact is that
Naveen Chomal, I know,
but
Naveen
the
Chomal,
judge had the entire evidence before
Naveen
him.
Chomal, you're an
he had
advocate.
the chance to evaluate the
Naveen
evidence, the
Chomal,
quality
you're
of
an
evidence.
advocate, but I want you to see this entire episode. I want you to see this as this entire episode not through your legal lens. See this from your human eye. A girl, an 8-year-old girl who was just abducted, she was brutally raped and she was killed. And the way that entire episode went forward, when we listened, like Rhythm was telling us the details of the gruesome act, we still get goosebumps. When you listen to this, don't you feel that the barbaric act, the way it was performed, the way it was taken forward, these animals should be hanged? Please do not look at it through your legal lens. And that's an appeal. That is a request to you tonight.
No, I'm not. No. I fully respect your concerns. There is no doubt about it. I'm not on a different page. But I am talking out of my experience and understanding of the subject. See, even I am definitely emotional about the issue, and any person who commits such a brutal crime has to be hanged. But here comes the very difficult part of the judge, who has actually got the opportunity to see the entire evidence, the quality of evidence against the people, and then rationally decide whether these people should be hanged or not. So ultimately judge has had the opportunity to view whether it is a rarest of the rape case or not, and how much of material is so convincing against these people that we should basically
Naveen Chomal, okay, I also want to now, 2 minutes on the debate, so I also want to go across to Talish Ray, who wanted to make a point here. Talish Ray, remember that the law in India, there should be rehabilitation of the rape victim. We are not talking only about rehabilitation of the rapist. We are talking in India about the rehabilitation of the rape victim. In this case, there is no rape victim. She's been killed and mutilated.
Look at victimology here. We need to look at the victimology here. In terms of rehabilitation, at some point in time, we have to realize that there are things that have already crossed over. And therefore, whereas we, all of us as panelists, have actually turned around and said that none of them deserve our sympathy, we also need to acknowledge that it's happening so frequently that it's not rare of the rare. And because it is not rare of the rarest, that's because there is no, we don't look within ourselves. We don't care about this. We are going to talk about life penalty, death sentences, all of that. But as Neelam ji said and Abha ji before that, what are we looking in terms of a deterrent, and we need to understand those deterrents. As long as we are going to keep
we don't have much time left in the debate, so let me take it across to Dr. Farooq Khan. Farooq Khan.
One last point.
What reform? What reform?
Life
is reform a possibility with such beasts? Farooq Khan. I'll come across to you quickly, Farooq Khan, then Abasi.
My point is very simple.
Farooq Khan, then Abasi.
government, yes, my point is very simple. Nothing less than death. Nothing loud and clear. Nothing less than death. And government must ensure, government must request the High Court to create some special bench so that the matter is disposed of immediately.
Mr. Naveen Chauhan,
Right.
evidence. Now, on the quality of evidence, I am hoping that when this case goes in appeal in the High Court, there would be death penalty given to the 3 people, and for the policemen, it would be life imprisonment, because quality of evidence has been compromised, because criminal conspiracy charge was not slapped on the cops, and that's why they've gone scot-free with 5 years. I think quality of evidence needs to be improved further. There should be a supplementary charge sheet. More investigation needs to be done, and these rapists of humanity, they need to be given death punishment,
very
because
valid
you
point
cannot
there.
have
We
unequal
only
law.
ended by
14
saying
talks of equality before law, equal
very
protection
valid,
of laws.
and you
So
know
when
what
it
we
is death
ended by
penalty in
saying?
Madhya Pradesh, it
What
has
the
to be
top
death
court
penalty
viewers said in the
Jammu.
Nirbhaya case. Right, it sounds like a story from a different world where humanity is treated with irreverence. In this case too, humanity died a silent death. I thank our guests, Sucharita, and I thank our guests for being with us. We're back on the other side.